Hello everybody, this is Bison Crumbs, and welcome back to my channel. Today we continue to document my financial journey to hold myself more accountable through YNAB, which is a zero-based budgeting system, kind of like envelopes but digital. So with every category you add into YNAB, you just fill it out and give every dollar you have a job. So today we continue my financial journey, and today we're actually going to speed run April. I've decided to catch up faster from I began this journey for March and did a little catch up, but I haven't been exactly consistent in making these videos. So today we are going to catch up by going through all of the month of April. This is the total I got, which is $2,000, or I guess 2,200. But that's all the money I got in April, and this is all my spending, and we're going to go through it and see where we landed. So let's begin with day one. We paid for rent, which my half is $448. And with that, the internet is $36 for my half. Electricity and gas ended up being $24.40 and then $18.44 respectively. I began YouTube Premium in the month of March, but after the free month was over, I decided to continue keeping it, and in the future I might actually upgrade it to have more accounts. My job is not super taxing on my uh, brain, I guess. Anyways, it's very easy at my job to watch YouTube and perform to a level I need to. And because of that, the amount of YouTube I consume is high enough to justify just skipping all those ads without me having to touch it. And it actually has a really neat feature, which is that you can make a queue. And I've had problems with it where the queue doesn't always stay like overnight, or like it gets glitchy at times. But if you're using it throughout one day, it's pretty easy to keep a queue and it'll just go through them and you can add and move around stuff. It is very helpful for what I do. So we'll do the 1283 there. And eventually for YouTube Premium, I will probably add it to a family plan so my brother and wife can also join in. I believe you get up to 4 accounts with Premium. And then at that point, I might just do a yearly amount to make the cost go down. But then on to phone bill. We pay $35 a month for our phone, and paying off my car to my parents. At the beginning of the year, my parents took over my loan just because they also paid for my brother's loan. So I'm just paying them back directly to save on that interest, which is $184. Dooney and the wife. My wife paid for a lot of my cat's expenses. So this is just kind of remembering to pay her back monthly to be at the end of December when she gets fully paid back. Hulu, I pay for Hulu and Disney Plus, so maybe I'll write that. So I pay for both those because I value Disney Plus and my wife values Hulu more. But together it's only $21, so we just do that for our only streaming service. Story Plotter, that's $4.27 a month. I still haven't fully used this to my advantage, so I really need to get on that to see if I actually like the service. But I am trying to find a good note-taking system that works with my mind to kind of export all the thoughts I've had over the years that's on paper and put it into one central database, kind of like this budgeting system, so that I can keep track of it all easier. But Story Plotter was one of those where I put it on a trial and then I haven't quite used it to an extent where I would like the cost. So I think I will be starting that pretty soon here so I don't have to pay for another month is the goal. I will be doing my next video on spring cleaning this and double checking all these amounts with you guys. Like Dashlane, I know that is an expense that will be coming maybe even soon. So I need to keep track of all that stuff, and I will be spring cleaning and getting rid of all these old ones that I've never used or have used once, and finally getting to the bottom of that kind of thing. But my car insurance, I didn't manage to save over the course of a year for it, or I guess 6 months, because I pay it every 6 months here. I guess I did not quite save enough for it, so we'll just pay that off here. We'll come back to license and registration. We're not going to get ahead of anything before I get to the bottom of this budget for today. Oh, and it was not, since I already had that 31 saved, we can actually minus that. An attempt to resell. During the pandemic, I was purchasing a few things to kind of flip from like Goodwills until I realized just how much of a job that actually is, and it didn't really get far anyways. So now it's just a category where all my eBay payouts go into, or like money I spend on buying letters and packaging to ship out all this stuff, and basically gone through everything I was going to flip. And now it's just getting rid of stuff in my home to make it easier to move we'll probably move in July here. So it's getting rid of all that old stuff that we never use or don't want anymore and making a little bit of money off of that. But we made $21.69. I should say $28.69 after all this stuff comes out. My second YouTube channel we spent $47 on, and this channel we spent $40 on for the graphics. I should say the one graphic, my profile picture. I really like how it came out, but gas we spent $94 this month. And then because there was a BOGO deal, I kind of went overboard on some energy drinks with G Fuel. G Fuel, we really like together, but we like a lot of the hydration stuff. I wanted more energy drinks, so I've been kind of on a kick of energy drinks. I grab powder, which will last me longer than buying individual energy drinks that I may or may not like. We like a lot of the G Fuel flavors that are like, there's like Sage Mode, which is peach and pomelo, and we like the lingonberry one. I feel like G Fuel especially has a lot of interesting flavors and a lot of fruits that I've never seen really. And because of that, those are the kind of reasons why we gravitate towards G Fuel over other energy drinks. So 101.45 there. And then spices and seasonings. My wife really enjoys this lavender steak seasoning. So we ran out of it, and I ended up buying one of the bigger jars for her so that we'd have more to last. We ended up finding this at a Renaissance fair. This tinker's wife, they were pretty cool. So we liked this. We were able to actually try everything for their seasonings. They have a lot more. We were able to try, if not all of it, a lot of it there. And my wife really fell in love with the lavender steak, which is what they said was the most popular. But back to it. That was $32. Not just for the lavender steak, as you can see with the price, but I bought a few more little seasonings just for me too while I was at it. And then Sweet Stop, I ended up buying a few sweets. Me and my wife both end up having a little bit of a sweet tooth, so this is just a category for anytime we stop at gas stations or grocery stores and buy a little bit for ourselves. It's usually at grocery stores, if it's only that we buy that I put there, I don't really split the transactions like you're able to, just because I don't really get around to it as much anyways. But if I remember, I try to keep track of that sweet stuff as a separate category. Surprise merch. This is just a general category for a lot of the YouTube or like special event merch drops. I have a separate category for those limited time kind of stuff. So that's 2151. I ended up buying, I'm actually going to go back and reverse this. That is my surprise merch category, but I actually bought a little item off of eBay for myself, and that went down into the wish farm. So when we get to that, I will explain it, but that was my surprise category, and I had to recategorize it. Move it on. Groceries, I spent $166 this month. This was one of the higher months, but well, I guess it's about average, it says. So some months I spend really very little, and some months I spend a lot. It kind of just depends between me and my wife what we kind of do. Um, Work dinner was $28. This used to be a category just for every time I spent money on dinners at the theater, or dinners or lunches or snacks in general. But now it's just a category for when we have potlucks or stuff at my current job. So I spent $28 on Square Donut this month, just as a surprise breakfast for everybody. I was going to go to Krispy Kreme, but I couldn't find a coupon for, I have that, I have one of the coupons where it's buy one, get one free dozen. I wasn't able to find it, so I went to Square Donut, and I guess I forgot just how expensive a variety pack at Square Donut was. One 12 donut variety pack was $28 there. They are pretty good donuts though. They're very sugary. I know my wife isn't a fan of too much sugar, and that's kind of the upper limit, while Krispy Kreme is not quite as much sugar, but packed into little ones too. So she's able to eat two of those, and with Square Donuts, she's only able to eat like half before it's a little bit too much. Casual fast food. This is fast food I spend on myself. And yeah, I spent a little bit over on myself this month. I try to only spend, it says my average is $19. I guess last month I spent $30, but I try to keep that down to like $10. Well, I guess with the food prices going up, it's more like $15. I only try to go out once a month really for myself for like lunch or anything. This month I had a few interviews and special events that were like right after work, one of which was a concert I had at like 7 o'clock. So I ended up spending money on fast food before the event. And I actually got very sick that night. I don't know if it was just general anxiety or a combination of the right, but for making the second video on this channel, my throat was fried for just a couple of days after I left that concert. And that's why my second video is kind of delayed. I've had planned on recording it a couple of those days, but my voice was so fried that I could barely even talk. It was a great time, I guess. But I had a couple of interviews and concerts and stuff like that, so I ended up spending $40. Food for two. This is between me and my wife going out instead of eating our groceries or making food anyways. So $133. Event food. This is food that we ended up going to junk stock this year. We've gone a couple of years, but sometimes we skip it. Uh, this is more of those events where you're over lunch or dinner and you just spend money on a food truck. So that's $33.91 on me, and those can be a little bit expensive, but sometimes it's worth it. Movie tickets, I spent $41. This was between me, my wife, and my brother. We went to Suzume, which was an event anime film. It's one of Makoto Shinkai's newest films. My brother really likes all the Shinkai films, and especially the music is Radwimps. So if you've ever heard of their music, they do basically all of Shinkai's films. Um, it was a very good movie. I had a couple of problems with just the setup of the movie, but overall, it was a very enjoyable film and worth the money. I should have asked for my brother to actually pay me back for his part, but I guess I didn't, so here we are. Maybe I will in the future, but it's not a huge deal. And then concessions, and that brings us down to $3 to assign. Skip filled up once a month. I did overspend this month on doing a couple more events than normal with friends. As you can see, the average spent is usually $32. So it's not a category I use a whole lot, but between last month and this month, I definitely spent a lot on trying to do more things before a couple of friends like leave for other states and stuff. And that's where the kind of value judgment comes in. It's you don't have to do everything and you should watch your budget, but sometimes you should overspend on moments that will make you happy. And with YNAB, it's supposed to be that you are taking from other categories, which we will be, but for now, I'm just going to go into the red until we come back and fix all that. $162 exactly. On the dot. Interesting. And some of these categories, Roth is the amounts between these two combined. So let's do that math again real quick. It's 33.13 plus 1013.61 minus 946.74. And I probably could have realized it was only $100 since last month failing the Arbor checking account, I no longer put money in that. I'm only putting the $100 monthly into the Alliance savings account to still qualify for the bonus there. And that bonus is up in August. So we'll see if I get that, which I should. But this is just saving for the next Roth IRA. And I haven't decided quite yet if I'm going to go to the full 6,500 that is the limit of this year, or if I'm only going to do something like half that, depending on my savings goals. Roth 2022, I didn't actually end up spending this just because I didn't get my budget correct in time for me to legally fund 2022. So this is my dividend account that I spent all of 2020 putting money into. I ended up selling it at the beginning of this year to get back on track with my budget and actually even things out because as you can see, I tend to overspend a little bit more than I'm supposed to. And once I'm caught back up, this should be an account that just goes directly into a different savings category with whatever I have left. And I'm hoping that's a lot more than what I'm seeming to minus right now. The Treasury, this is just general savings accounts, but as I keep mentioning, we have to move this money to categories that matter. So the 605, we're going to keep on adding to the doctor. Well, I'll actually put it towards the dentist just because I think we're going to go to the dentist a lot sooner than the doctor. We'll put that 1 cent from the VCU, which is my other credit union. But instead of general savings accounts, you are supposed to have everything have a particular category, and that's why we've got to keep track of that. Right now they keep going into the same accounts, general saving accounts. These untouchables have to stay there, but everything else, these general savings accounts, it's about realizing what you are saving for, and what I am saving for is auto maintenance, doctors, dentists. I guess I don't want eyes, so I probably don't need glasses for a little bit, but I should get a checkup. Wedding, honeymoon. I could subtract these amounts to get towards this, but since I have that buffer amount, I'm not going to take from any of these accounts that I should be. So like with my friend outing, I did overspend this month, and it's about realizing where you're taking that money from. So to buffer it, I am using my buffer account, but if I didn't have that buffer account, it's about taking away from my auto maintenance from the future, my dentist, my wedding, my honeymoon, which these two are kind of for our second round at wedding and honeymoon together since ours was in 2020 and it was good, but it could be better, which would be the hope with that. More family, more friends, that kind of thing. But we'll see where that goes. And then we have reward merch. This is a new category for me. Some of the video games have started, aside from just microtransactions, making physical reward merch. If you if you do certain activities within the time frame of their like event. So in the past, I have bought some of these, and I've decided to make it a category onto its own since they're usually the games that I spend a lot of time in, like Halo Infinite, and I used to play Destiny a whole lot. So it's about seeing if those rewards are actually worth it for me. And I've decided to do that for the new Halo Infinite stuff. But I have the 3 years of Destiny 1's merch where they did special shirts for each one of them. If you completed all the moments of triumph, they called it. Basically doing all the end game content of that year. But those still hang in my closet. Nintendo Switch games, I ended up spending $65. We ended up buying the deluxe version of Mario Kart for the Switch. We've been having quite a bit of fun with that. And then Xbox Live, $26.98. That was spent on renewing my Xbox Live for a couple more months. And so for dinner date, we ended up going to a more expensive restaurant by the end of the month. And that was just because our actual anniversary ends up being the beginning of May. So we went the weekend before just to make it easy on us. And I ended up paying for it. So that ended up being in this month instead of the next month like I had wanted. But it was a good dinner, a very interesting place. But that was that. Extra love, because of our anniversary, I end up spending a lot more on just random gifts for my wife, which is this category. There's actually a drop of Pokemon Sitting Cuties where they did all of generation number 5. Oh, that's not Gen 5. But my wife ended up loving a lot of these designs. This isn't all of them, but this is one of her favorite generations. It's what got her back into, or it was one of the first Pokemon generations she actually was at the beginning of. So she has a special place in her heart for it, and I decided to go in and actually buy the ones for the two of us to have together. So that's ended up being a little pretty penny. 131. For our actual anniversary, I spent $19 more than I planned to. And that was just on actual anniversary gifts, other than the extra love. But Mother's birthday is at the beginning of April, so I spent $106.74 on her. And so I spent $106 because we as a family ended up taking her to axe throwing and I just paid for it. I guess that's another thing I didn't get paid back for. But I spent $106 on axe throwing for 1 hour. It was pretty fun. We went on a Sunday, so it wasn't very busy at all. And the kid there that was the only one there that day wasn't really paying attention, so we could have spent longer there, but by the end of the hour, my mom decided she wasn't very good at it and it wasn't as fun as she wanted it to be. So we were good with just the hour. My brother's birthday is coming up here in May, so I spent a little bit more on that. And we have a little bit more to pay come May for a special cake and such, but that should be all his gifts. And then Father's Day, we spent a little bit more preparing for Father's Day. For Father's Day, we got him a real gift and a gag gift now. And so anything outside of that might be my brother has to buy for him. And then for keeping up with YNAB as I have, I spent a little bit more than I probably should have on myself. But on eBay, I bought the Book of Boba tea tins just to complete that collection since they sold out on the actual Republic of Tea website. So they're kind of limited now. And then the small Destiny heart. I lost mine from way back when, so I bought a new one for my hat. That's $21. And then I wanted to make this more. But we are down $1,000 almost, so I'm not going to add more. Litter for my cat. And then pet toys, we end up spending a little bit more on some new toys for him. So that was $66. He gets kind of tired of his old toys pretty fast. And that was the same time I bought a new container for him to actually keep his food safe. We had a little bit of an ant problem here in April, so we took care of that and then put his food into a watertight container and took care of the ants by ourselves. And then wife payback was $15.97. Walking cash, I took a lot out for just concerts and junk stock is a lot of cash based. And then interest / fees, we did some ATM fees there. And I have my monthly fee on my rent. So my first question is, we're down $1,100, and that's quite a lot actually. That is about half of my Roth. So this is why I am keeping up with myself and holding myself accountable. The responsible thing is to skip this month of funding anything else. More responsible would be even to take this out. I think I will keep everything as is. I'll just subtract the money for now. Come soon here, I'm not going to have a buffer to actually take out of though. So that's when the real questions are going to become real. And I'm going to have to make sure that my budget can actually adjust for what I am saving for. I guess my last words for this month are just to make sure I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing and stop overspending, because a lot of this was avoidable, other than the car insurance, which I should have saved up for, which I need to do more about. So car insurance was a big chunk, energy drinks, and groceries, food for two, friend outing, which I'm not going to be doing as much anymore anyways. What else did I spend a lot of money on? The $100 isn't too bad from Roth 2023. That's not too bad to account for. I'd say these two as well. Okay, so this is keeping track. Mother's birthday. We don't have another birthday after my brother's for quite a while, and then Father's Day. I guess my wife's birthday is coming up in July. But all those combined was $800 of my $1,100. Oh, and then $160. So that's $900. So even though I did overspend, I guess a lot of it was kind of one-offs. Well, I guess food for two, this is arguable for those two. If half of it was kind of one-offs, so friend outing, dinner, extra love, mom's birthday, yeah, and walking cash. So between all those, it was half of it. That's not doing too bad for just one-offs. I know I kind of overspend on my wife and family for gifts and stuff. The $160 was for like concert merch, so that's more on me. If I spend too much on other people, I end up wanting to spend some on me. And so that's kind of where that balance comes in of not a very good balance, but overspending. But that should be actually it for this video. I guess all I had to say was that my plan for holding myself accountable is catching up with me pretty fast here. It's something I really have to prioritize, and the purpose of these videos in the first place. So the buffer of the Roth 2022, where it was my dividend account, I spent a while on building up, and then it's been blown through within a couple months here. That's a real problem and wake up call at the same time. So I will be making another video pretty soon here. Until then though, this has been a bison's journey of making crumbs on the prairie. Thank you all for joining. Like, comment, and subscribe if you want to keep seeing me pop up in your feed, and I'll be back soon with the next one. I'll catch you guys later.